The idea came about, having heard the devastating news about what had happened to Bri. You automatically think, what can we do to show respect towards Bri and support for his family? And obviously, not possible to gather up the club, so during the first lockdown, there was a huge fundraising effort to raise money for the club, and that showed great unity. So by setting up something similar, a fundraiser, then again the club can kind of come together from afar and show unity towards his family. And then the physical challenge, again, it was about getting out there and doing something, and by sending photographs in, I think it's really, really powerful in terms of getting behind the campaign. And the response was unbelievable. The fact that we had pictures sent in from far and wide, Ireland, Australia, Dubai, America, was just amazing. And I'd just like to say a huge thank you to everyone who contributed to both aspects of the campaign, and hope that it goes some way to showing the club's support towards Brian's family.
So the original plan was to ask everybody to conduct a 5k challenge. After some thought within the committee, we decided we would extend that to raise a few hundred quid for charities. So well over £5,000 and over 220 donations made. So that was absolutely fantastic, and I'd like to thank everybody who's participated in this challenge.
On a cold, dark February night, Andy took his first hazy photo. Martin went out for a frosty bike ride, and we retraced Brian's steps over Peck's Hill and down to the spot on Norlands Lane, where he'd stopped to feed a horse with Jennifer and Graham Riley back in the presidential year of 2009. First out of the blocks on the 5k challenge were Andy's contemporary players from the late 90s, early 2000s. We now travel across the sea to Northern Ireland, where one of Brian's ex-Wids colleagues braved the ice and snow to stand outside Brian's former club in Belfast. Over the Irish Sea, glittering weather takes us to Blackpool, and we travel down the coast to New Brighton, then into North Wales, down through Shropshire, then we travel up towards Delamere Forest. We go across to Chester, running down by the banks of the Dee, and a masked former colleague does a 50k bike ride for Brian. Back up to Widnes, indoors another masked man, and out on the road with Brian's colleagues. The messages we've had suggest he was as popular at work as he was at play. Having seen Brian's colleagues from the turn of the century, we now switch our attention to the current players from the Wids, who turned out in all manner of weathers, taking all manner of standard of selfies. Not restricting themselves to Widnes, Warrington was also on the map. Back in Widnes, a pride of presidents came out to give the support for Brian. This took on a variety of forms, ranging from weightlifting to seeking out the homes of legends, to another visit up Peck's Hill, and dog walking in Great Sankey. Flying across the Atlantic Ocean, we get to the deep south of Alabama, with former club captain Dave Welsh going out in rather warm weather to do his 5k. And moving over to the west coast, to the state of Oregon, we come to Salem, currently suffering blackouts. But on hand is Paul McKeever, who lit 5,000 bulbs just for Brian. Back in England, we go indoors. It gives us the opportunity to avoid the heat and the cold and have a go at cycling or going on rowing machines in garages at home, or stretching out into much larger facilities, or even doing 5001 on the dartboard. Quite a few of Brian's former colleagues decided to visit the other local haunts where he'd play rugby union, rugby league or golf. And as we leave Heath Road, we journey down south to Twickenham, where Brian once played, and go for a run down the banks of the River Thames through the City of London, with a stop off on the way back up to Hertfordshire. We meet a couple of referees along the way. Then we go back to our evening trips around the Wids. Away from these bleak Lancashire nights, we now travel to Brunei and Dubai, where incredulous camels look at the message 5k for Bri. All the while the numbers were coming out in force, walking around Widnes, without dogs, cycling and taking selfies. Here's Brian's golf trip roommate. None of them got the 11,000 miles to New Zealand, but we got the message back. The green hills of that land give way to the leafy lanes that lead up to Huyton. Back down to Rain Hill, and up to the Dream at Sutton Manor Colliery. And a pair of socks reminding us of the two rugby union clubs Brian played for in Widnes. Along to the waterfront, we go down to Pickering's pasture, up to Spike Island, with a view of the Runcorn Bridge, just as it reopens, perhaps for this event. We cycle over to Runcorn and up Runcorn Hill, where the chairman looks across to Fiddler's Ferry Power Station on the other side of the Mersey, down by the St Helens / Sankey Canal. We follow the the canal up to Lim Dam and travel along to Salford before going over the moors to Bradford and Bingley, then along the A61 to Leeds. Despite the jersey, this isn't West Yorkshire anymore. We're back in Widnes. And just last week, we got 3 contributions from Australia. Can I just assure you that these locations and venues are genuine?
Do a walk on the treadmill. Not too sure when to do the run yet. Probably laps around there. Should be about 5k. All the way around the grass and back.
With a stop off for a bike ride in Belgium, we now get a set of family photographs of people who gather together as a tribute to the life of Brian Gill.